This is really hard to do in a 10-minute segment, but I wanted to get back to you on this one as because a lot of people and you mentioned that a lot of people use meaning use in their arguments of how language is put together, and the Wittgensteinian arguments. Had a talk with Savage, and he thinks that the Tractatus is lesser than philosophical investigations, and I'm saying no, it's a necessary beforehand because it helps one understand that Wittgenstein is traversing the language and describing the language, but in the end, he's kicking away the ladder of his descriptions, and he's not trying to solidify any particular thing. He's simply trying to give people insight based on these traverse things. And so when he comes across meaning of a word, and he states, and I believe it's 143 of the PI, he states that for a large class of cases, although not for all, when employing the meaning of a word, the meaning of the word can be found in its use in a language. Now, an exception, or to say, well, okay, for a large class of cases, when you're employing the meaning of a word, you would look for the use. Now, what this says to me right off the bat is that we don't always employ the meaning of a word. So when are we searching? When are we employing the meaning of a word? When are we seeking for it? Well, generally when you come across a conflict in the language. For example, if you just heard the first part of the Eminem song, my name is diggy 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 diggy, you wouldn't really know what is, and he does it three times. So my name is meaning okay, maybe his name is or my name is meaning there's a blank, or my name is like there's a sound over, meaning he triplets those, and tripleting things is often good so that the meaning is considered either what it is on the surface, what it is as a mistake, and what it is in terms of how it might be pending. And so what are the other classes of cases? Meaning, because he says, for a large class of cases, although not for all, when employing the meaning of a word, the meaning is found in the use. So onomatopoeic words are a good idea, and that's not dissimilar to saying something rhetorically, but the only way that you would know that I was saying something, let's say not rhetorically but facetiously, would be a look on my face. Oh yeah, right. I'm not agreeing with you. I'm saying it facetiously to you. But it takes my being there, my presence, not necessarily the textual presence. So if you're reading text, you would find the facetiousness in the context. In a verbal presence, you would find it in physical connotation as well. So onomatopoeic words are really they're like that. They're extensions of searching for meaning in not context, but in a physical, contextual, interactive relationship. And then when you look at it again, you step back from Wittgenstein and you realize that what he's trying to do is he's kicking the ladder away. When you understood what I've done, you'll realize I've climbed a ladder and I'm kicking it away, and that all I've said is nothing or nonsense. And in a way, when one looks for the not for all portion, for a large class of cases, although not for all, onomatopoeic and interaction with the world is one case where the meaning of a word is not found necessarily in its use. Another one would be vernacular use. If I say the sentence, I went to the store and bought a cell phone for Christmas. Um, that might seem a little odd in the way I'm phrasing it, but I think you understand what I mean. Now, if I say the sentence, I went to the store and bought a cell phone for Christmas, I'm not actually there's no misunderstanding there. Therefore, you don't need to question what the meaning of "I went to the store" or any of these words or the word Christmas, because you already have this information. So you're not at this point employing meaning. So for a large class of cases, when you are employing the meaning, meaning when you're engaging and you're misunderstanding a word that you already know, or you're engaging a new language, you need to employ the word. You need to employ meaning in order to seek out the usage and find out what it is, short of other references. And so, just general vernacular, after you understand the language and you're interacting with it, you don't need to employ the word meaning. Therefore, this whole class of day to day uses of language are not the definition of meaning. They have nothing to do with meaning. Meaning is already in the interaction, it's not quested, it's not sought after. And so, let's say that another example of a class of cases might be if you went to let's say Italy, and you didn't speak Italian and everyone's speaking Italian around you. And let's say you're not seeking to understand what they're saying. It's not that you're thinking that they're not speaking a language. You know that they're speaking a language. It's not just a bunch of humans running around talking babble. So you know that they're speaking a language, you hear a word, but you don't seek to find meaning. Once again, you don't employ meaning, you just hear a word, and you might even be able to repeat it. But until you seek the meaning, the language, the meaning of all of those words is not found in the use, because you haven't employed the word meaning. You haven't stressed the seeking process, which is very much what I believe you're doing with your word monamic, as I see it. This is why I think this is going to be a good hinge if that word becomes established as you're using it, because it's the dormant non-seeking, or here might be another definition. It's the dormant non-seeking interaction with the language, and then dynamic would be the seeking process. But overall, I think Wittgenstein is trying to not solidify and stamp in context to find meaning. That's just one area of grammar, and looking at the complexity of what Wittgenstein is and what he's doing. But although Derrida and Foucault and modern philosophers like to use that, and some have even summed it up entirely, that meaning is use. But this is a common oversight that I'm finding, and there are more particulars, and I'm certain that there's many more classes of language use cases in which the meaning of a word is not its use. But these are just a few. I mean, even if you walked on the ground and let's say you're an English speaker and you see a paper cutout and it says the word slide on it, or it just has a single word on it, and you're not seeking meaning in that word. You just go slide, and it's out of context. It's out of that. There's no background. There's no usage of it. It's just like the piece of an advertisement or a piece of paper. And so there's no use going on. And in that case, you wouldn't necessarily say that the word slide didn't have a meaning. It's just that you would have to apply the meaning. And so you can look at language, if you're going to apply it and put it forward from you, then it should have meaning. Meaning if you're going to type it, if you're going to present it. But if you're just interacting day to day, you don't make assumption that the other person is seeking the meaning of your words. They know the meaning of your words. It's already gathered. They've already built the language. So people building a language, then meaning can be looked at in terms of use. But people that have already established this, then it doesn't apply any longer unless there's a conflict. And really, there